Every story has a hero. There's always a fight to defeat the threat, the war to defeat evil, and to save the day. We are all instinctively drawn to these tales. We are this way because we see that within ourselves there is the capacity for true strength of character, just as there is in the hero of a story. That is the kind of strength that defines entire lifetimes. It is the same kind that gave Martin Luther King his grace, the kind that gave Winston Churchill his conviction. That is the kind of strength that gives life its divinity. We're now in an era that's more confusing than most before it. We're in a time where everyone is angry, confused, and really no one knows what to do. Sometimes it can even seem like we're in so deep that it would just be easier to swim down. I feel that way sometimes. I mean, the smartphone, social media, and the pandemic have all conspired to pretty much change us. When we emerge from this lockdown one day, we will not be the same people we were in 2019. This isn't the same world that existed 1 year ago. Everybody wants to attain greatness. It's pretty much a human universal. I've recently been reading this book called The Alchemist, and it's essentially about a young man discovering his dream. The book states that when people are young, they know what their personal dream, or what they refer to in the book as their personal legend, is. However, as people get older, that dream starts to fade and begins to seem impossible. Even though people know that chasing their true dream and attaining their personal legend is what would give them meaning and happiness. And I bring this up because I think we're in a time right now where people are losing sight of who they are and what they want the world to be like. Yes, it's true, our systems are corrupt, and yes, people like Zuck can see your texts and sell your metadata. But every human institution has an element of inherent corruption within it, and there will always be tyrants like Zuckerberg. He is just the latest incarnation in a never-ending line of evil people. But that begs the question, who will the heroes of our time be? Will they be the same people who oppose people like him? Well, I think that the heroes could be us. I think that we could be the ones who save the day. Yes, in many ways, our society is hollow and polarized. And yes, our culture is sick, but it's not because of COVID. I think that we've been dwelling on some very serious societal problems for a very long time without addressing them. And I think that right now, in the worst time possible, is when they've chosen to rear their ugly heads. But I really think that we have the capacity as people to stop it. There's this great poem by Rudyard Kipling which basically states that if you are able to treat both triumph and disaster as equal imposters in your house and still keep your wits about you, then you can basically do anything in the world. And I really like that because I kind of think that that's true. I do think that that's true. But despite all of our inadequacies and faults, we can bear our burdens and live, not just survive. Nihilists like to say that nothing matters and that all systems of value are totally arbitrary. But they're wrong because that's just not true. There is one simple reality that no one can dispute, and that is pain. Pain is universal in all things. Being alive can suck because everything hurts. And as a result, people will ask things like, why even bother with anything? If you have no responsibility, you can do whatever you want. True. But then the world is also meaningless. But people who live like that will ask, why should I even care? And it's a good question. The only problem with that narrative is that if you live as if nothing matters, you will be weighed down by existential dread and you'll stop being able to move forward in life, and you will have over-rationalized and overthought every single thing. But if you turn it around and decide that everything matters, suddenly you're able to move forward again in the world. The problem with over-rationality is twofold. One, it falls in love with its own ideas and creations. And two, when taken to its logical extremes, it prevents you from actually properly functioning as a person and really living. So to bring it back, how does one become a hero? Well, I could be, and probably am, naive about this, but I believe that the way to do it is by discovering or rediscovering your own personal legend and following it. Not just to follow it kind of, but to follow it with everything that you have. To pursue it with all your being, and in the course of doing so, to have an adventure. The adventure is what you have along the journey to achieving your goal, and it's indispensable in discovering who you are. And I know all this can sound very cliche and whatnot, but I have absolute conviction in what I'm saying. I believe every word of it. You really can rise above your circumstances and become your own hero. Just think about all the people that you admire. They aren't nihilists and losers. They're people who overcame great odds to do amazing things. That's what makes a hero. The hero is the one who overcomes the challenges along the way and picks themselves up every time they're thrown down. Even though the hero seemingly loses everything along his adventure, he never loses his faith, instead making it fuel for his engine. And that's what I believe we must all do now. We must take this rather shitty situation that we've been dealt and make something truly remarkable out of it. It isn't optional. It's our mission as people. What we need now is for people to become the hero that they've always wanted to be. Everyone can imagine what they'd be like if they became the person they'd always wished they were. So I think we should aim for that and see where it takes us. I wrote the script not only because I believe in it, which I do, but I also needed to hear it. This is a really dark time in the world, and to get out of it, we're going to need people who have the courage to become their own personal heroes. I hope, and this is going to sound really cheesy, but I hope that whoever watching this knows that even if it means nothing, I really believe that you have the capacity to become your own hero. I sincerely think that you are capable of attaining your potential. But first, you have to start. And as always, thank you for watching.